It's 6 a.m. on a cold, dark morning, and I'm walking the streets with Sophia in the buggy, desperately trying to get her to go to sleep. I'm sure you've been there. If you haven't, you're very lucky. If you have, this is my story. I had a little girl called Sophia back in February 2016, and she thought sleep was something that only other babies did. We had the most horrendous breastfeeding journey. It took until she was 5.5 weeks old before I saw a infant feeding specialist who basically fixed the latch. So we had a really, really traumatic start to the first sort of 6 weeks of life with an emergency section. She had infections, I had infections. I had to stop breastfeeding for a week and give formula for a week while I was on certain antibiotics. And all these things, everything that felt like it could go wrong pretty much did. And she just didn't sleep. And I went to my mum's in Blackpool, and she was there kind of going, this isn't normal. This is when she was 4 weeks old. She's going, this isn't normal. She's saying, I'm sure it's not. She said, I've never breastfed, but this scenario is just, it's not right. And I'd always said, I'm never giving my baby a dummy. I've always said that. It's just not happening. Anyway, my mum went to the chemist and came back with a dummy, and I just went, okay, we'll try it. And she did, and it didn't fix anything much really, but it gave me a little bit of respite to just kind of regather things and maybe go to the toilet and stuff like that and have a brew without having to hold a baby that was just constantly attached to the boob. And like I say, that's when I was able to actually reach out and get help from an IBCLC. So, and I'd always recommend this, by the way, if you're really struggling, go and see an IBCLC, an actual infant feeding specialist. They are absolutely incredible, and they are the ones that will be able to help you in your breastfeeding journey. So you would think by now, we're kind of going, 5.5 weeks, the latch is all sorted, this is great, we're going to get it all done. She still didn't sleep. It just didn't happen. It never came. The sleep just never came. And it literally was driving around to try and get sleep in her, walking for miles upon miles, trying to get sleep. It was just, I can't even really put it into words, that the sort of despair and that kind of the darkness that kind of sleep deprivation can take you to. And I'm not talking about being tired. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about full-on sleep deprivation, where, I shouldn't say this, but I know that other people have done this. And at the end of the day, one of the things that I feel very passionate about is me being completely open and honest to you and saying this is real and this happens. And one day I got in the car and I was driving to Mothercare, and halfway there I realised that she wasn't strapped into the actual car seat. Oh, Jesus, the panic. But it really was that sort of real level of sleep deprivation, not tired, of just having not slept, having micro sleeps. If you don't know what a micro sleep is, it's where, when you're driving and suddenly you go like that, and you next thing you know, you're halfway across the other lane in the motorway or something like that. It's terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And these were things that were happening more and more frequently, and it's such a dangerous thing. And basically this lack of sleep had the worst effect on my marriage. We didn't communicate with each other. The only time we did communicate with each other was through shouting. We couldn't talk. We weren't on the same page with things. We desperately tried to have a day out, which ended in pretty much near divorce. Which sounds crazy. How can a day out end up in near divorce? But the smallest thing, and that kind of, you attack each other. And actually, when you're going through something like this, the last thing you need to be doing is attacking your partner. You need to be kind of coming together and saying, right, okay, what are we going to do to fix this? How are we going to make this better together, rather than keep fighting against each other? And then basically, I'd go to all the baby groups and everyone was talking to me about their baby that slept 7 till 7. And I'd be going, I hate you. And they, you know, with all the best intentions, were telling me all the things that they were doing that was going to help their child sleep. Yeah, I'd tried it. It didn't work. I went to the health visitors. I was constantly talking to the health visitors about it. They had me down as an anxious mum. I was just absolutely knackered. And then in the summer, me and my husband decided that actually, you know, we were, it was a point where we either had to try and fix ourselves or go our separate ways. It had kind of got to that point because we couldn't talk to each other. So we went down a marriage counselling route, which was hard. There was a lot of things that were said to each other, you know, and we just basically had to work on that. But I'll be honest, the thing that really fixed it was getting our baby to go to sleep. So when she was, I think she was 7 months old, 7.5 months old, the health visitor initially had told me to try this Solihull technique, which was basically controlled crying. And it involved me sitting on the stairs outside Sophia's room while she was crying her eyes out in the cot, while I was crying my eyes out on the stairs, listening to my baby sob, and I was just doing what I was told to do by the health visitor because I knew no better. And I did it for, I think I managed it for 2 nights and went, this is just awful. It went against everything that felt instinctive, which is not right. And then a friend of mine who I'd met at swimming pointed me in the direction of somebody who was a sleep consultant. And she basically, you know, sold us the world. And we kind of went, right, we've got to do something. We didn't have the money, but it was one of those things where we went, we've got to do something, because I'll tell you what, a divorce costs a hell of a lot more than paying somebody to actually help us with our child's sleep. So we did, we paid out and we got our child sleeping. And I'm not going to say it was without tears, because it really, really wasn't. I've learned so much since then, by the way. This was my journey. And it was sort of traumatic, but it did work. It was really, really hard work. But we got there and she slept. Trust me, this is not something that's been an ongoing thing that she suddenly started sleeping and that was it. Sophia's actually quite difficult in general. She's nearly 6 now. And one of the things that I've had to do over the years is constantly study and relearn, because for some bizarre reason, for whatever reason it might be, she seems to be a child that just doesn't seem to want to go to sleep, and she seems to struggle with sleep, and that's fine. She sleeps through the night for me, everything like that. She doesn't fight me at bedtime. Everything is fine, but this is because I've had to put a lot of work into place for that over the years. But right back then, it was a game changer, because we went from literally having no sleep and just arguing all the time. I remember I was on the phone to 111 at one point in the night. She had literally been screaming for 2 hours, and I'd done the whole feeding her, rocking her, walking her around the room, singing to her, absolutely everything. And nothing seemed to work. And I thought, there must be something wrong with her. There must be something wrong with this baby. What's wrong with her? And turned out she was actually just tired, which sounds completely bonkers, doesn't it? But she was just tired. She was absolutely knackered. And sorting that sleep out and actually bringing sleep into her life made the world of difference. And it brought it into mine, and it brought it into my husband's, and we were able to actually start talking to each other again and starting to communicate. I know that my story here is not unique. I absolutely know this. What happened from this particular point is I found a passion. I found a passion to say, I need to change other people's lives. I need to do what this lady has done for me, for other people that are going through this, because not enough people know about this help. So I went on to study with her, which I later found out that actually she didn't know as much as she thought she knew. And I'd done a few things that I don't, I kind of regret a little bit really with Sophia from that particular experience. However, it was the path that's led me to where I am now, to really come into this and make some positive changes for everybody else. So what I did is I went and trained with her. I'm not going to say the names because it's just, it is what it is. It's a gentle sleep training course. I went and did that, but it just wasn't enough. And this is the bit that's really, really important. What I have learned is there are multiple people out there selling the dream to sort of say you can become a sleep consultant by doing a few weeks of this study. Or a few days or a few hours, whatever it might be. There are some courses which are a day and people can then say that they're certified. What I have learned is that these courses, they're not necessarily worth that much because the training is not as in-depth as actually we probably need to make those changes and to be able to actually really acknowledge what's going on in a family's life. It's not just about that baby going to sleep. It's the family dynamic. It's everything. So I started off with that, and that was what got the business going 4 years ago now, back in 2017. And then in the 2018, I started on the holistic sleep coaching course with Baby M, which was utterly incredible. And it just opened my eyes so much as to the world of sleep. It's the most complex thing going, and you can't just look at one little bit. The bit that really made a huge difference as well, and I'm going to talk to you now about this because again, this is something where a lot of you will probably say, I get this as well. So when Sophia turned 2, okay, we went through little patches, but then she got to the point where she fell out of the cot. And she wasn't ready to go into a bed, but I hadn't learned enough at this point to know what I needed to do. So I just thought she's got to be safe. She's got to be safe. And we took the sides off the cot. And it was probably the worst thing we could have done because she wasn't ready. And it built all sorts of different separate anxieties into there, which I hadn't even considered. And we ended up where we were literally on 2 hours of broken sleep a night, and she was sleeping in with us. I say she was sleeping in with us. I can't co-sleep because Sophia likes to sort of sprawl and kick and move around. She's always been a very restless sleeper, and she couldn't sleep in the toddler bed because she kept rolling out. So we ended up, eventually we managed to get her a full-size single bed, low down, so if she was to roll out, she wouldn't hurt herself, but it had like sides, it was like a princess car bed. And then obviously I went on to do, okay, so this is the bit that other people might get as well. I'm generally quite a highly strung person. I don't deal with tiredness well, and I struggle. Hence one of the reasons I do what I do, because I need to keep learning. I need to keep learning and understanding things so I can help and support my child and keep my emotions in check as well. And knowledge for me is so, so powerful because knowledge is what levels me, grounds me. And this is what I've learned for so many of the families that I work with. Having that knowledge is so powerful. It can ground your emotions enough to be able to take you to that next point. And to say, okay, rather than absolutely losing the plot, what can I do now to sort of bring things back? What is the actual situation that is going on? And is this normal? And how am I going to get out of it? So that knowledge is so, so powerful. But at the time, we didn't know how to actually manage this with Sophia because we were all on our absolute knees. And I went to the GP and basically asked for counselling because I couldn't cope anymore. I felt like it was just, everything was just wrong. I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought there was something wrong with my child. And really, it was just a case of I needed to change so many other things as well. But I'll tell you about that in a second. So I did, they actually put me onto an anger management course, which was really, really helpful. It wasn't actually the thing I needed, but I learned a lot about from that on calming myself and understanding my own triggers, which really did help. But the thing that really changed it was I then went on to do the Incredible Years course, which is like a 3-month program. I'm learning all about behaviours and how to implement them, and understanding their behaviours and understanding the brain of a young child. And this was the key for me, in being able to kind of say, right, what's actually going on, and implementing, laying foundations, emotion coaching, and all these different things. These were the things that built the foundations to have the daughter that I've got now, which she's stable. She struggles with quite a few things, and that's fine, because I'm going to keep learning so I can keep supporting her. But because of our relationship, I can now support so many other people on their journeys as well. So this is why I do what I do. I do it for my children, to make sure that they get the best I can possibly give them. I can manage all their emotions and things like that, and help and support them and help them develop in the best way possible. But because I'm doing that for them, it means that I'm able to do that for you as well. So one thing I will say with this is, if you are struggling, please know you are absolutely not alone. You really are not alone. It is so hard. Parenting is, it's difficult at the best of times, but when you're absolutely exhausted, to the point you can't see what's in front of you, and everything around you is just, you know, it feels pointless, and you're not enjoying things the way you thought you would do, it's possible to come back from that. And it's when you need to ask for help. You are not alone. It's really important that you do sort of reach out and say, right, okay, who can help me? And if that's not me, that's absolutely fine. There are other people out there that can help. But it's really important that you make sure whoever you ask to help you has got the experience to be able to do that, and they've studied enough to be able to do that, because the sleep industry is not regulated. Anybody can literally do a one-day course and call themselves a sleep consultant. So that's the bit that's quite terrifying. So please do your digging. Make sure that whoever you get to help you knows what they're talking about. But please know you are not alone. It's a really hard journey to go on, but it's the most amazing and rewarding journey being a parent. But if it helps you now, I have a 20-month-old who's a little dream. She absolutely loves sleep. I say to her, do you want to go to bed? She says yes, she goes to bed. And it's so different because I've been able to lay those foundations earlier because I knew what I was doing. So I was able to put those things in place. Also, her temperament's very different, you know, but she's a little girl that loves her sleep. But again, I was able to actually build that in right from the very early stages, rather than waiting till we were at the point where the child was already kind of going, Wah! Which is what Sophia was constantly. So yeah, if you feel that you need help, you can find me at www.babytosleep.co.uk. You can also find access to online courses with my help. So you don't just have to have online like videos and that's it. You can have my support. So what we've done with the plans is we've built them so it's all within videos. So you can go in and you can watch all these videos, you can get new knowledge. The platform that we've got it on now is, I'm going to keep adding new stuff to it. So when I think that something might be beneficial to parents, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to add new content. So there's going to be a developing platform for you. But rather than it just being videos, you actually have my support within a Facebook group as part of the package. So you can come in and say, Nicole, what's going on with this? This is happening. And I'll come back and say, right, okay, what you need to do is X, Y, and Z. Try this, try that, because it sounds like this is going on. So you have my hand to hold you in an online capacity. So that's for, and we've got the online plans from anything from 6 months to 6 years. I know the one up to 6 years sounds huge, but basically what happens from around sort of 20 months to 6 years is they're going to go through so many different stages. They're going to hit them at different points. So rather than just trying to sort of have different ones for different ages, I thought, well, actually, do you know what? Let's put it together so you've got somewhere that you can constantly dip in and out of over the years. So when these things happen, you've got somewhere you can come back to and say, right, okay, they've just started school, they're feeling a bit like this, sleep's just gone a little bit like that, what could be going on? So you've got a safe place that you can come back to and have a look and learn new information. So there's the online stuff, but you can also work with me on a one-to-one basis as well. So if you would rather me hold your hand, we can do that as well. I just want to make sure that there's something there for everybody, because nobody should ever get to the point which I was at, and my husband was at, where you feel that there is no way out, and it's just too hard. Nobody should get to that point. So the way I like to work things is be completely open, honest and transparent, and make sure that there is something for everyone, whether, make sure you can all afford it. So it's all there and it's handheld. You're not just kind of going it alone. You've got me. Okay? So I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you've come off this thinking, do you know what? It's okay. It's okay to struggle. I get it. I feel it. And I actually, I'm going to get some help, because it's okay. It's normal to have felt the way that I've felt. And actually, my child isn't broken and I'm not broken, because you're not. You're just going through a difficult patch, and I can help you through it. That's absolutely fine. I'm going to leave it there because I do like to waffle. But feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel, because every week we have new videos that come out as well, which are free. It's a free resource. And if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you will get notifications through every time a new video comes up. And there's loads of free content on there already to help you. So it's definitely worth getting your details on there, so you can get notified of all the new stuff that comes out. Right, I'll see you later. Bye.